But let's kick it off now with the playful side of photography with Nikon Ambassador Gilmar Smith.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Love you, Mike. Good morning, everyone, the people here at WPPI and everybody watching from their home. So my name is Gilmar Smith. I'm a portrait photographer and a Nikon Ambassador. I was born and raised in Venezuela. So to tell you a little bit of who I am and what my name is pronounced like that, I have to give you like a little behind the scenes thing. My dad's name is Gilberto, my mom's name is Maria, and somehow in the 70s they thought that it was an absolutely great idea to combine their name and put them together. So now I have to put the pronunciation right next to my name every time that I do a presentation. So you can find me all over the place on social media, and you can go visit my website if you like my photography and if you want to learn a little bit more about me, or if you want to learn a little bit about portrait photography and creative portrait photography, because I always post all kind of content around there. So I'm gonna walk you through a few things that makes photography playful for me and what it builds my style as a photographer. So we're gonna go talk about light and shadows. We're gonna talk about color and how to utilize it in photography. We're gonna be using different things, funny things, cheap things that can take your photography to the next level. We're gonna be talking how you can incorporate humor and how I incorporate humor in my work just to make it a little bit more connection with my audience and with my clients and with my subjects as well. How you can incorporate props and how, and at the end of the day, then you take the conclusion that you want with everything that I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna take all of those little things that I'm gonna tell you today and take it home with you and utilize it the way that you want. So let's talk about light. When we talk about light, we always see how you can play with it, and we are always straight to put a light on top of our subjects. But then usually we miss something that is very, very important when we're doing photography, which is the shadows. Like how we can play with the shadows and how we can incorporate it to make your photography more, make it stand out a little bit more. So this is Sean Stockman from Boys to Men, and I had this amazing photo shoot with the whole boys recently, and this is us playing with light and shadow. But before we go and talk about light and shadows and how it works, we have to talk about something that is very simple, and I think that every single one of these photographers here have ever shot with a white seamless or in a white wall. So before I start going a little deeper, we all know that if we are using a white wall and we only light our subjects, the white seamless is gonna turn gray because we're not lighting it. And if it's not hitting light, it's according to how far away from the background our subject is. The background is gonna be either gray or it's gonna be black, or probably it's gonna be lighter gray if we're getting the light closer to our subjects in the background. Then if we just light the background and we don't light our subject, what happens is that we can create a silhouette. Then if we incorporate two lights, right, one for the background and one for our subject, it is like that. So it's very simple. It's just a white seamless that everybody uses, right? Then you can incorporate something like gobbles, like an optical spot, and you can create shadows, and you can play how the light works on your subject and how you can tell story with the shadows and with darkness and light. How you can just accentuate something and how you can play with the shadows and with props, and how you can make like a different connection between your subjects and the lights and the shadows, right? All of this is done with a white background and just one light with an optical spot. So as I said, we're playing with light and shadows. The same thing here, lights and shadows with a maternity shoot, right? Here is just playing with just plain white light and just letting the light just go all around my subject, right? So what happens if we know about light and shadows, but then we can start incorporating colors? And colors are beautiful and make things look different, and it makes you have like a different mood and a different reaction according to the colors and the way that they're utilized in photography. So the same thing that I was talking to you earlier, like if I like the background and I don't like the subject, right now she's closer and everything is bouncing around and you can see some light in there. But then I can put a light on her, and what I'm doing is just putting a gel on my light on the background and creating a total different picture, just incorporating color. And you can incorporate one color, two colors, three colors, and you can create gradients. And all of that is done just by adding colors with gels, or if your lights have the ability to change colors, then you can incorporate more colors on your backgrounds and your photography. Okay, so this is another one of my favorite techniques and the ways that I love to incorporate color into my photography. This is, again, is a white seamless background, but this is called RGB lighting. And what RGB lighting is the use of 3 different lights. R for red, G for green, and blue for B, right? So you utilize 3 lights, each one of them with a gel, a red gel, a green gel, or a blue gel, or if your lights can change colors, then you can do that. So what's gonna happen is that when you do those, the shadows that are cast behind your model and your subject are going to become the opposite color of the lights that you have in front of them. So let's say the opposite of green is magenta, the opposite of blue is yellow, and the opposite of red is cyan. So that's what's gonna happen to your shadows. But here, to make things even more fun, I grab a little prism and I put it right in front of my camera, because I've played with the lights before like this. And I've done it many, 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 many times. And every time I'm photographing and every time you are in the studio, you have to find a way to take things to the next level. So in my case, I've done this so many times, but then I was like, okay, I cannot fill up my portfolio, my website, my social media with just this technique that I love, that it makes me look smart and that impress everybody every time that I do it. But then I go and I utilize a prism, and it makes like this weird, crazy thing, but it's fun and it's being playful, because photography, lighting, and all of that is supposed to be playful. We all grab our cameras because we wanted to have an outlet, we wanted to have a hobby, we wanted to have fun. So that's what we have to keep doing whenever we're doing photography. So once again, when we're playing and when we're creating, sometimes we get stuck up like, oh my goodness, I don't have this gear, I don't have this light, I have this and I don't have that. But you can do a lot with what you have. In this case, I wanted to do the lighting that I was telling you, the RGB lighting, but I didn't have gels and I didn't have the right lights with me. So I was like, I can still do it, but differently. I had only 2 lights, and the other slides that I had were like these tube lights from Aperture, that is just a tube that you can change colors. But in order for you to really make the RGB lighting work, the 3 lights have to be the same, and they have to have the same power, so you can have like that really white light on your model and then the shadows on color. So I was like, okay, I don't have that with me. So what I did is I used 2 lights with spots. One of them has a blue color on it. The other spot had a yellow color on it. And then I grabbed the 2 tube slides that I had, and I put one on one side on green, and then another one on pink. And then you got like this crazy cotton candy unicorn world that is amazing. But the fun part is that I'm shooting this lady, and she's a doctor, and she's a plastic surgeon, and she wanted these pictures for her website. But at that point, I already knocked down all the serious pictures and everything that I thought that she wanted. And then I started playing, because she likes my work. If she hires me, she goes to my website and see the craziness, and everything is very colorful. So I was like, okay, now let's play. Now, if you go to her website, she didn't use the regular branding pictures that I did for her. She uses all of this for her website because it helps her stand out. So that's what I'm telling you. Photography is about having fun and showing people what you can do, and then experiment and play no matter where you are and what you have available to you. So the same thing, using color is magical. I were to do this, like the one that I showed you of John Summer for Boys to Men, and this will be black, and the light will be just white. It will be amazing, it will be beautiful, but it's a lot better when you kind of play with the colors and add a little bit for it. So this is what we did for her for for Valentine's Day. So we incorporated a little bit of red so she could play and use those pictures for Valentine's Days. The same thing with, and every single thing that I'm doing here, I'm just using a white seamless paper. I haven't changed absolutely anything. It's just the distance that you have with your light and your subject and the background, what is gonna make what you see in the back. In this case, I bought this little $45 projector. And then I grabbed a picture with a lot of color and I put it behind the model. And the projector is facing towards the camera. And then I grab a haze machine and I pump it up. And then when you have light, especially with colors, and you use a haze machine, the atmosphere and everything looks a lot better. So once again, it's creating with what you have. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of color lights or anything. It's just playing with whatever is available. Another way that I love to incorporate color in my photography is just picking one. I pick just one color sometimes, and this is what I get. So now, the thing is that when you are photographing with just one color, sometimes you're gonna see the difference of the clothes, the background, and the props that you have around. So one little trick that I use when I'm photographing with just one color and I want everything to look cohesive, I grab a light, put it like a little bit behind me, far away, with the same color, with a gel, with the same color of the color that I'm photographing, and I make that light bounce on a V flat, and what that's gonna happen is kind of going to unify all the colors and make your shadows and everything, and the colors are gonna start looking more cohesive. Another way that I love to utilize color is playing with the background. So I have a bunch of those little cheap rolls of seamless paper that are like 54 long, and what I do is I grab 2 B flats. You have to use a sandbag, of course, and I just layer them together, and I create something completely different without having to pay and without having to do anything crazy. It's just 2 seamless papers, layers on top of each other, and then you can create something that stands out and is something that is absolutely different. So color, you can do so much with color. And when I talk about color, everybody look at me, and right now I'm black and white, but I'm usually like with crazy colors, I blazer of every single color. But color can make and can break a photography, a picture. So if I were here to use something yellow and then throw some green in here, it wouldn't look good. There will be something that people will get bothered by it. And if you don't know about color, probably sometimes you have seen some pictures and you are like, oh, these are amazing, but there is something there that is bothering me. And it's because the colors are clashing with each other. So right here, when we did this photo shoot, we styled them. This is Sean Stockman from Boys to Men. And we style all the boys. I have an amazing stylist. And we use just neutral colors, and everything looks amazing. It's because all the colors play amazingly together. So this is the other one. This is Boys to Men. And it was the most amazing shoot ever, but it was just being very, very, very careful of how you use and play with color. So, Resourceful Artistry, that is like my last name. I started photography and I was so broke. And to me, it was like I want to create so many things, and I think that scarcity is creativity's best friend. Because when you have a lot of things around you, you get overwhelmed, and there is so much that you can do, but then my brain gets stuck. But when I have little, I have to really think about how I can utilize things and make things amazing. So I always try to look at different things in my house and see how I can use and how I can incorporate this into my photography to make things amazing. So here you can see that I'm utilizing color, and I'm doing it with her outfit. I'm doing it with the background, and I'm using it with light because she has like a little bit of yellow on her. But then I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I went ahead and I broke the seamless paper. And then you got a different thing there. And the same light that I was using here with her, I put it against the wall, and now the background is yellow. So I'm not changing much. I'm not spending much. I'm just creating with what I already have. Same thing here. This is a piece of plexiglass that you can get in Lowe's and you can find pretty much everywhere. Spray with a little bit of water, and then you get this. And it's super fun, super cheap, not spending a lot of money, using color, being playful. The same thing here. You can get a roll of Mylar paper that is like $30, and then you can play with it. In this case, I utilize that Mylar paper and I put it on top of a B-flat, and then I put some on the floor, and I ask my model to sit, and then I use my color lights, and then you get something like this that is different, but at the same time, you can do so much with so little and with spending so little. Same thing here. You see these pictures, and wow, there was a lot of production on this. No, it was not. Those are the cheapest flowers that you can buy. And we just put them all together, and we have like three other girls like helping me putting the things on their heads. I'm using Mylar paper on top of one of those chippy tables, and then I'm using light and color. And boom. I think that for this, if I spent $20, it was a lot. So it's about creating, it's about being playful. Once again, each one of you picked up a camera at some point in your life, and it wasn't to be bored, and it wasn't just to make money. It was because the camera doing photography was fun, it was an emotional outlet, or it was a hobby. So you have to keep playing, you have to keep creating, and try to use your creativity to do the best. So this is the same thing that I was talking to you about. A white seamless right now with a black, with a B-flat on the black side. And then I play with the light, and I just light him from one side, from the dark side, and then keep the shadows on the white side. And then, wow, you get something, you grab something. Then I put the B-flat behind the seamless, and then we have a black background, and I break the seamless. Then you get a total different look with the same background. Then I opened a hole on it, and I told him to get his hair out, and then I opened some other holes, and he got his hands out. So then you get something totally different. Then I got even more playful, and I got stickers. And I played all the stickers on the background, on the white seamless, and then I grabbed the other ones, and I placed them on him. So you get like so many looks, which is using a white seamless and being creative. So here, the same black and white thing that I was telling you that I just, one day I want to do this and that, I used it when I photographed Boys to Men. So they always have like this serious look, and I knew right away when they hired me for it that I could do that black and white setup. But now, there is something else about being playful in photography, and it's the way that you communicate and the way that you connect with your clients. So to me, I have only one personality. So I am always the silly me, the playful me. I cannot have a different serious personality. It's just not me. So I was photographing them, and they were like super, super serious. And then I used my favorite trick to make people laugh when I'm at the studio. I just put my camera on my face, and without saying anything, I just started doing, ah! first thing people do is just stare like this, but then everybody start laughing, and you get these laughing pictures, but then that smile lingers because they keep thinking about it, like, what the heck did she do? Is she crazy? And that lingers for a while. So that's how I went from this to this. And then the smiles linger, and I did it many times without saying anything, and it always worked. And the funny thing is that I have been telling people to try it in different places, and I keep getting messages on Instagram and everything. Gilmar, I try it, and it really works. So if you want to try it, and you don't care about making the fool of yourself, and you shouldn't, you should try it too. Humor. That's a big part of my photography and everything that I do. And as you say, like, as I said before, like, I don't care about making the fool out of myself. And I really encourage everybody that is in front of me just to have fun and open up and be funny. And if you go and see my photography, I make the fool out of myself on my self-portraits a lot. And ultimately, those funny pictures are why people hire me. Because they're different and because they can feel connected. And they know that that's going to be my style, so they know what to expect, right? So here are some branding pictures that I did for this realtor. And he wanted to use these ones for the covers of his reels and his TikToks for his business. So being playful, once again, using a magnifying glass, just playing like if he was The Bachelor, here like if he was in Vegas and then being rejected. And that's just a roll of tape, and you can see these are just silly things, but it adds so much and create a connection, and I always, it's my personal choice. I always want to hire, and I always want to be around somebody that shows me who they are, shows personality. It's just like so different when you look at somebody so serious in a headshot and blah, blah, blah. I will go for somebody like this in a heartbeat because it showed me more personality. So once again, this is how I use humor, and this is me doing my self-portraits. And when I do my self-portraits, I do it in a way to try new things. In this case, I was trying to get all the colors in a cohesive manner, like I was telling you recently. So I get these concepts, I do a lot of silly things, and then after that, I know that I can utilize those concepts or those techniques that I learned by doing self-portraiture with some other clients. Once again, being playful, allow yourself to get into character, and it's super fun, and you can do that with props, and you can do that by storytelling. It's just, when people feel uncomfortable in front of the camera, I have found that sometimes if you tell them to pretend to be somebody else, or do like these people do, or talk like these people, they get out of the shell. So I love doing this kind of work as well, because you can see so much. This is my son. He is one of my favorite subjects, and they are like a big part of my work because kids are so playful, kids are so much fun, and we all have that creativity and that sense of wonder that we kind of lose as we grow up. So I love photographing kids, and I love to do storytellings with kids because it makes me get in contact with my inner child. So in this picture in particular, it was my daughter. She's 9 years old now. And she always comes to me. She's so creative with the craziest ideas. So on a Saturday morning, she comes and says, "Mom, what if we do a picture and we're racing?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm game." And she's like, and I keep asking, like, you have to pick that brain. Like, what are we gonna be racing? And she's like, animals. And like, what kind of animal? Snails. And like, okay, so who's gonna be winning? Me. Who's gonna be second? My brother. Who's gonna be last? Of course, me. So I love creating this because it comes from their imagination. It's a collaboration that we're doing as a family. And I think that is beautiful. When they grow up, they can look at those pictures on the walls and say, "Hey, I did that. That was my imagination. That was my concept." And to me, it's so valuable. So another thing that works amazing for photography is utilizing props. And I absolutely love props. And they're very helpful when somebody comes and stays like this in front of the camera. There is always this problem, it's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. So you just give them something to hold and play with it, and then they change completely their approach and how they look in front of the camera. So here, once again, and it doesn't have to be something out of this world. An orange, a banana, super fun. The expressions are amazing, and it's just a fruit that they're holding, but they're holding something, and you're giving them something to do. You are telling them how to do it, and then it completely makes them ease up on set. This was another one with my kids. I don't think that they ever had so much fun photographing me, like helping me do a self-portraits. They were spraying my face, they were spraying everything, and it was so much fun. Once again, using props to tell a story, to make things look fun, to really enjoy. Again, this is a realtor. I have this collection of rotary phones, and I have used them so many times, and I'm like, I'm gonna put them away because people keep asking me, and it's my collection, but every time somebody comes over, they want the rotary phones. So here, as you can see, we're using color, we're using light, we're using so many things that I already talked about. But now, the magical thing about this is that this is her profile picture in social media and everything. So what I tell people when I'm doing this kind of work is use bright colors. Doesn't it happen to you that when you're scrolling on Instagram, everybody has like the same colors of profiles, so you cannot see? But when you use something like this and you are scrolling, it's like right on your face. So I always tell my clients when I'm doing personal branding, let's pick a really bright color, so when you pop up, you pop up. So you are there on people's mind all the time because you're using color, and colors are so powerful. Once again, self-portraiture, using color, using props, humongous props, little props. I was doing this session with her. It was her 50th birthday. She doesn't look 50. And we started like little shy, and she was like super shy. And then I told her to grab that humongous cupcake and her attitude and everything. And she started laughing, and we started having so much fun. Same thing, I created that for my 44th birthday using props. And then I saw the cake that my friends made for me, and I used tape on my yellow blazer just to kind of make it look 3D. So once again, super cheap, nothing crazy, and you can create so much with it. Props, once again, they do so much for your pictures. They create a story, they play with light. It just make all the sets look fantastic. So I'm running out of time, always. So once again, the thing that I really like, if I really want you to take something away with you about my talk today, is just don't be afraid to play and to try different things and to be vulnerable in front of the camera, because we picked up the camera for what it did to us. And then we start chasing the money, and we forget the fun part of being a photographer and how we can create and how we can express ourselves. So I run out of time, but thank you so much for being here today.